Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me here today. And thank you, Gene, for the warm introduction. Gene is right. I am a proud member of a credit union. I was telling him that backstage that last night, it's true. My husband and I have an apartment now here in Washington. We packed up a few things very hurriedly last September when I was asked to come down and start working on this agency. And so last night, we were going to watch a half hour of TV before we went to bed. Last part of the Academy Awards. I won't give away how it comes out. But I reached down and picked up my gray fleece Harvard Credit Union blanket embroidered on the corner, and it reminded me again how my credit union offers me so much, including a blanket I was not about to leave behind in Boston. So I want to say that it really is an honor to be here today. Credit unions are an example of giving real value to customers and to communities. Gene, I know, is just one of many, many people who work at credit unions, who run credit unions, who give up their time in order to give back to the community. Gene runs management classes, money management classes for employees and for students up in Cambridge. And the part for which I am most grateful is that for many, many years now, Gene has been someone who spent a lot of time trying to help me understand the internal workings of different credit products and the business models and business practices, both good and bad, of different lenders and how it is that credit unions and other kinds of consumer lenders operate. I am very grateful for the long-term education I have gotten from my own credit union and from the head of my own credit union. So I am here today because I share a goal with you. I am committed to building a consumer credit market that works. A market that works for American families, that works for the financial services industry, and that works for our economy. As a law professor and empirical researcher, I've studied the pressures on middle-class families. I've studied families who work hard, who play by the rules, and then who are squeezed by an economic system that is all too often tilted against them. I've tried to talk with anyone who would listen. My research has shown the sort of 1-2 punch that families face: rising core expenses and flat wages. Families increasingly turn to debt to cover medical expenses, debt to pay for an education, debt to deal with a job loss, debt to make it to the end of the month. They often, when they turn to debt, face fine print and legalese that hide the costs so that it's difficult to assess what they're getting into. Customers are often misled about not only the price of the product they're buying, but the comparative price of the product, what's expensive and what's not. I've spoken out for hardworking middle-class families, and I will continue to do so. And that's what brings me to America's credit unions today. You know, I know that I speak to people who are familiar with this, but I think it's good to have a public reminder from time to time about the history of credit unions and how deeply they are entwined with middle-class America and with service to middle-class America. Edward Filene, of course, is one of the fathers of the American credit union. The son of German immigrants, he grew up in Massachusetts learning the meaning of hard work. He turned down an opportunity to go to Harvard because he needed to bring in money for his family. His entrepreneurial spirit ultimately resulted in great commercial success. Filene's department store, quite a landmark in Boston, and of course, ultimately, Filene's Basement, and the phenomenon I learned about for the first time when I went back east, and that is the running of the brides at Filene's. So, a man who changed American history, but a man who cared about community. He was inspired by the employee co-ops in India and Europe, and he was determined to work on a similar model to help ordinary American workers get more affordable loans and have a safe place to put their savings. He coined the term credit union to capture the importance of creating a financial bond within a community. That movement spread across America. By 1935, 39 states had credit union laws, and there were more than 3,300 credit unions in operation. That's about the time when CUNA was formed. And the motto is one I hold dear to my heart: not for profit, not for charity, but for service. A valuable role is played by credit unions in our economy every day. A few years ago, I was reminded firsthand about the real impact of a credit union. My much-loved, newly married niece had gotten into financial trouble. She called in tears. She was frightened and deeply embarrassed by having fallen into a financial trap. I said to her, "You have a credit union at work. Go see them. They will help you." And she and her husband did just that. This isn't the place to go through the details, but let me put it this way. That credit union will forever be an important and trusted member of our family. Because that's what credit unions can do. But there are a lot of challenges today. Credit unions continue to provide high-quality services. They operate to serve their members, not to treat their members as sources of revenue. Credit unions have stayed the same and true to the initial goal, but the larger financial landscape around them has shifted dramatically. The world that existed when credit unions flourished has changed. Mortgages, credit cards, small dollar loans. It used to be pretty easy to see the price up front. Both borrowers and lenders knew the basic terms of the deal. But those days are gone. Today, consumers in the financial marketplace see complicated deals, dozens of different moving parts just to figure out a price. And when they see that, they wonder what the real price is. They see pages of fine print and wonder what's hiding in the legal terms and long paragraphs. Too often, customers have no realistic chance of reading their credit agreements and figuring out the real terms of the deal. In fact, a new form of pricing has emerged. Low advertised price on the front end with a plan to make it up on the back end with fees, charges, penalties, repricing. The front end, back end notion of pricing, pretend to sell it at one price and then sock people with upgrades in the prices, higher revenues on the back end, is bad for families. If families can't tell the price